Yo, what's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Thank you all so much for tuning in. Yeah, I'm a little late, y'all. I'm tired. Let me just tell y'all what the hell happened. So, I'm I'm trying to figure out why my shirt was see-through. I wasn't wearing this shirt. Like I have a green screen. Obviously, y'all see my background, and I had my shirt on, and like the I kept being able to see through my shirt. And I'm like, what the hell's going on, bro? I'm like trying to adjust my camera. I'm trying to adjust my light. I'm going to the settings and stream, y'all. I'm like, what is going on? Why can't I see? Why? Y'all, there was green in my shirt and I had a green screen. That's why you could see through my shirt. It took me like a good 15 minutes to realize that. So if I seem a bit slow today, like I said, I'm tired, y'all. I'm a little tired. So if I seem a little bit slow today, that's just like a pretext to what I just went through for the last 15 minutes before I went live. So with that being said, be patient with me today, guys. Be patient with me today. Um, Let me know if y'all can hear me okay. Let me know if y'all can see me okay. Which I hope that everybody can. It looks like everybody can. Um, we have an exciting show. It's gonna be a little funny because there's some rude awakenings that were apparently had over the last week in the Democratic Party, and that's always fun. Also, MAGA figured out that "Make America Great Again" actually means that you actually you support terrorists. That's the only takeaway that I could possibly get from Trump lifting the sanctions on Syria after everything that happened, right? Because we're gonna get into it because it isn't just like this dude's a terrorist and maybe he turned over a new leaf and that's why Trump is lifting the sanctions off Syria. No, it's like he a terrorist. He's still doing like terroristic shit and he's being rewarded for it. So we're gonna get into that as well. And we're gonna talk about the Democrats talking about reparations again, a day late and a dollar short. Obviously, with zero intention on passing it. So we're gonna get into that as well. Before we get started, I don't know if y'all were aware, but I actually went on Amanda Seales' show yesterday. I was on there live. I was one of her guests. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Amanda Seales, but she is an actress who basically became known for calling out the corruption and exploitation of Hollywood. And she refused to be quiet about Palestine and the genocide that was happening there. And she refused to be quiet about how celebrities were being quiet, right? She was calling out other other um other celebrities by name a lot of the times uh for them not being willing to call out Zionists and the genocide and these ongoing wars. She was calling them out for tap dance for the Democratic Party. Like she basically got rid of all of she threw her celebrity status in Hollywood down the toilet basically to do the right thing and to use her platform to tell the truth. So, from that moment, I actually had a lot of admiration for her and her being willing to tell her story. And she actually was kind enough to invite me on her show. So if you have not seen that, I was on there yesterday live. I will post a link in the post um, after the show. So if you didn't get a chance to catch that, definitely do. And I would, she has some very interesting conversations and she talks about a wide range of topics. So I would strongly encourage you guys to subscribe to her. Also, before we get started, I wanted to talk to you guys about what happened with my phone. I know I've mentioned before that I took a hiatus because my phone was stolen, but I actually didn't go into all the details about it because I was, for lack of a better, I was stressed. I've been stressed this entire month, and the reason why is because what I did not say after my phone being stolen. My phone was stolen, but that was like the least problematic part of what took place. Effectively, the person that stole my phone, my phone was blocked 'cause I have an iPhone, so I was able to block the phone via Find My iPhone when I got back home. However, they took the SIM card out and they hacked all of my accounts, all of my bank accounts. Um, Whenever they took, because when you take the SIM card out, there's a way to actually hack it, get and use a phone number, find the name, and you can even get an email that's linked to the account. So unfortunately, uh, I lost all of my savings, um, and this is my life's savings basically. This is savings that I use for my family, um, the savings that I help out my wife's family with, the savings that I help out my family with, my mom with, um, and the savings that we have for our baby that's coming. Um, the savings, like we are in the process of moving, people, like packing up and leaving, and not basically that our money to move was stolen as well. Um, and yeah, it was a crazy it's a crazy situation. Something that like I would have never thought of would have happened to me. I did not know it was possible to hack SIM cards. I found out um, because of this situation. Then I went to Reddit and I saw that but I wasn't the only person this happened to. And then I called AT&T back because I called them back to make sure that everything was. I called them the first time to make sure everything was good. Like, yo, my Apple account hasn't been hacked, right? Cool. I don't need to do anything else, right? Cool. Then I'm trying to get into my stuff on my computer, right? I got froze out of everything. I'm like, how can I get froze out of everything with two-step verification, right? Like if I wasn't able to access it because I didn't have my phone, like in my phone number, that's one thing. But I was getting frozen out. Like they're like, these credentials don't. They went into my stuff and changed everything with my number because they could use the two-step verification because they knew my number because of the SIM card. I called AT&T back. These people tell me, oh yeah. So the reason that we're encouraging everybody to switch to digital SIM cards is because SIM cards are hackable. But they don't make this advertised because I think it's what the iPhone 13 Pro is the latest model. The latest model that you could have out of the iPhone to have a digital SIM card. So basically, everybody's SIM card before that, if you have an iPhone 13 normal, 12, anything before that, your SIM card, if your phone is stolen, your SIM card is hackable. And they don't want to advertise it to people because then they're worried, obviously, that more people would steal phones and just immediately go to the SIM card. So that's basically the explanation I was given. And I'm like, bro, I asked y'all when I called you, would it be a problem? And y'all said no. But we didn't know, well, because you have it. I said, yeah, I have a digital SIM card as a backup. I didn't know that having my actual SIM card was a problem. Because y'all didn't say anything. I've never heard of this. And they're like, and so, yeah, it's a problem. That's why they're trying to get everybody to convert, but they also don't want to advertise that SIM cards are hackable. And it's even for Droid users, if you can, I would strongly encourage you guys to switch to digital SIM card if you can, because it's apparently works for you guys. So I learned that the hard way. And I will put it like this. Like it was more than enough money to put a down payment on a house. That's how much money was stolen from us. And we're in the process of moving because we're having another baby. And yeah, we had like, luckily I talked to my property manager. They're giving us more time to move. A month, unfortunately, only because there's somebody else moving into the house. So they're giving us more time to move and to try to get the situation resolved. But yeah, man, like I said, it's been a very, very, very stressful month. And it was a gut punch, guys. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was one of those situations that, like, that's why I went ghost for a couple weeks on Twitter, not just because of my phone, but like we're just trying to resolve all of this. Luckily, my checking account, because I used my debit card, I was able to get that money back. But like that was like I hold like the least amount of money there. The other accounts where I have all my savings, they used an app, right? They like verified everything through it, like with my number through an app, and they sent money from my accounts, like actual savings accounts, saving account numbers from those banks to a bank in my name. So they're giving me hell trying to get this money back, basically. And Uber, who actually is liable for all of this, because I got my phone stolen in an Uber that had their windows rolled down. We're in the area that you're not supposed to have your windows rolled down at night, basically, is what happened. So we got robbed and I got assaulted a little bit. Obviously I'm not hurt, but you never know what can happen. And it was during the ride, and Uber is like trying to get me to run around, because like when I gave them the police report and explained to them what happened, and they begin to realize every time, like, because you can't call them because they don't fucking answer the phone, so you have to set up an appointment. They call you, and whenever the representative realizes, like, oh shit, this is an actual problem and they're liable, they hang up the phone, and I have to start the process over again. And then the banks are like, well, we got to get this information from Uber, because I give them the police reports, and they're like, okay, well, we also need information from Uber. They want information from the driver. They don't want to. The Uber people are too lazy to get in contact with the driver, and then like somebody doesn't. Basically, looks like somebody doesn't want to say anything that they can be held liable for legally, and so like, they just hang up. And so that's been like the stuff that we've been dealing with for the last 3 or 4 weeks, basically, and it's been hell, bro. And then like AT&T trying to charge me for shit that has nothing to do with nothing, like just because I got my backup phone fixed and then activated it. Like I didn't even have to activate it; it was already activated. They're like, oh, they're like trying to charge me extra shit, and then like they hung up on me when I tried to fix the shit, and I explained. I'm like, y'all just told me this, and I have this plan, but now you're saying this. So like, how does that make sense? And they just hang up on me, bro. I'm like, yo, I'm about to lose my fucking mind. I'm like trying to hold it together, bro. I was trying to hold it together. But the wife has been, it's really supportive, but that's why I went like ghost. And so I do have a link in the description if you guys can help out. The family would greatly appreciate it. Like I said, we were actually supposed to be, moving out. This was supposed to be a month of like celebrations. Like my kid's birth, my oldest son's birthday was last month. The beginning of the month, we found out, I'm having my princess. It's supposed to be a month celebration, and then that shit happened, and I thought like losing my iPhone was like, damn man, I just lost my iPhone. I had a backup. My kid broke that shit. That's a whole different conversation. But you can always get another iPhone. I had no idea that people could hack SIM cards, and I'm still pissed that information was not divulged to me when I called. So, and we, we're still in good spirits. It's just like we have to move. We weren't expecting to have to deal with all this, and like I said, it's when you know what I'm saying, like when you do everything right, like you do everything right, you try to do everything right, you try to do everything right for your family, you save money, you're as responsible as you can possibly be, you do what you can for your family, not only for your family but for everybody else, and then and more. And so when something like this happens and you feel like years and years of making good decisions is just like up in flames like that, and then people are like making it impossible for you to resolve, that shit is a gut punch. I'm not gonna lie. It was like sending me into depression. But I'm here. We're good. You know what I'm saying? We're alive. We're gonna figure it out. Honestly, I think that we're halfway to our goal already. So like I'm already super appreciative. My wife is super appreciative. But the goal that I have on the fundraiser, that is not close to what our life savings were, obviously. And so like that's just gone. I mean, we're actually going to sue Uber. I got a lawyer. We're going to sue Uber because it's their fault, and they actually have insurance for this stuff, but they're trying to get me to run around. So, but that process could take like a year and some change. But even still, bro, it just sucks. It sucks that there are people in the world that's like that. People that just want to take from other people. You don't know what the other person got going on. I hope they needed the money. You know what I'm saying? Like I hope they needed it more than I did. If you really got to do all of that to you know, to take someone else's money, to take someone else's hardworking money, to take from somebody else's family. I really hope that whatever you use that money for saves your life. I really do. Yeah, I'm speaking genuinely, because that's crazy. I would never even contemplate doing something like that to somebody else. But, you know, I don't know what that person was going through. Maybe they were desperate. They were in desperate times. So, but if you can support, the link is in the description. So, and I'll post it in the chat too. So, and just thank you to everybody who shared already. I see a lot of you already shared it. A lot of you already donated. I really appreciate you guys, for real. But with that being said, let's get the show on the road. I'm streaming tonight, and I know I'm kind of late actually, because I was going to stream tomorrow, but we have an appointment tomorrow trying to resolve this nonsense. So we're gonna see how it goes. And so I don't know if I'm gonna be able to stream tomorrow. So I had to talk about this stuff today. First things first, y'all. David Hogg. I feel like I don't have to explain to y'all who David Hogg is, but you might not know that he was actually made a member of the DNC committee. He was elected, the vice chairman of the DNC committee, which was kind of weird. Not gonna lie to you. I thought it was weird because, like, usually they make you pay your dues, but, you know, I've always felt like David Hogg was an intelligence community cutout, and it was pretty obvious that he was being uplifted into the position that he was in. So, like, was I surprised that he got a high level? I mean, he got basically they held his hand into Harvard admissions. He got through Harvard admissions and immediately is placed near the top of the party without paying his dues, as one is traditionally expected to pay. So apparently he got too big for his britches. Maybe he was one of those people who thought, like, if I play the game long enough, then I can enact the change that I would actually want to see, and I can say the things that I actually want to say once I get in the position I want to get in. And he learned, like everybody eventually learns, that's not how the Democratic Party works. The Democratic Party, contrary to popular belief, is not synonymous with democracy or anything democratic. So we're going to watch this video of him reacting to being potentially ousted from the DNC right after he got elected. And then we're going to check out an article really quick as to how the corrupt process, honestly, that they're going to try to use to get him out. Like, share. Like the video, share the video. Subscribe if this is your first time here. Bing bong. And y'all let me know, of course, that y'all can hear this.
On the woman who attacked you because you beat her at that job. Did you beat her fair and square? Was there any fire there?
There was the election that the DNC held, and I was the person that was one of the people that won one of the 3 positions that they had for the at-large vice chairs.
So what was her claim?
Part of the claim, so not to bore people, but to get into the bureaucracy of the DNC, we have a gender balance rule at the DNC because, of course, we do.
Okay. See, right away.
By the way, the Republican Party does too. If the chair is a male, then the vice chair has to be a female.
Well, what's interesting is that's even more progressive than our vision, which is that the chair doesn't count towards the gender balance rule that we have. Frankly, I don't even know if it makes sense for us to have the gender balance rule anymore in this day and age, because I want to focus on whoever's just best at the job.
Great.
At this point, that's my own view.
Terrific.
And, you know.
By the way, I support what you're doing with respect to the primaries, because I can tell you, having been in politics for quite a while, I started as an intern for McCain, some of these people don't know when it's time to go.
They don't.
Chuck Schumer has been in elected office for 50 years. 1974.
Did y'all hear Bill Maher in the background, like, complaining? Like, he was, like, grumbling just now. And it was weird because I guess he didn't know that the mic would pick up on it because, you know, they have, like, the people control whose mic you can hear, who you can't. And he's grumbling when he says that people don't know when to leave. Like, this isn't a true statement. Listen.
Chuck Schumer has been in elected office for 50 years.
Did y'all hear it? Did you hear it? Bro, Bill Maher is such an ass.
1974, he was first elected. 50 years, AOC will absolutely kick his ass in a primary. She is the leader of the Democratic Party in this moment, and will continue to be, I think, the biggest driver.
Okay, so I just want to be clear about something. That part I do not agree with. So she maybe could beat Chuck Schumer in a Senate race. Maybe. That part is believable. I just don't really believe, like, if it would be close. And because it would be close, I'm pretty sure Chuck Schumer will win. Because, like, New York City does not make up the entirety of New York State. And people sometimes tend to forget that. Even though it is a blue state, up north is way more conservative. And they're not going to be as wowed by AOC's literal just words. It's all it is. It's just a bunch of words. They're not going to be as wowed. And you don't, like, think about it. How often do you see her doing rallies, for example, in upstate New York? She might do rallies like in like Westchester and shit like that. Like, but that's not like upstate New York, like Watertown, New York, or Buffalo, New York. There's a reason for that, right? Like, she wouldn't win that. I don't believe that. And also, she's not the leader of the Democratic Party. She can't even get on committees she wants. And whenever they asked her why she wouldn't rerun for that committee seat, basically, she admitted like she didn't want to build up a record of losing within her own party because it would reveal her frailty and how much power she actually doesn't have. So, like, yeah, you can raise a lot of money, but like Bernie Sanders raises a lot of money too. Is he the leader of the Democratic Party? Has he been the leader of the Democratic Party? No. Being a lead fundraiser in today's world is very easy. All you gotta do is say the right things. That does not make you the leader of the party. In fact, I would make an argument for the Democratic Party. It is the person who can fail the most and have the least amount of consequences while still mandating who does what in the party. Because that's basically how it's worked. Fundraising doesn't mean shit when it comes to who actually runs the party. So just to clarify, I don't know, because this guy says he's been in politics for a long time, and I'm judging him a little bit because that statement, that's not true. It's just not true, guys. Sorry, she doesn't run a party.
Of where the party goes from a governmental policy standpoint, and that drives many of my colleagues crazy. But the fact is, she has tapped into the base of support within the Democratic Party, and you see the juxtaposition between her and Chuck Schumer. I'm writing a strongly worded letter. Oh, sit the fuck down, Chuck. It's time. Right.
Okay. So my question for that person would be, what juxtaposition? Because I'm writing a strongly worded letter is literally AOC's entire policy platform. Am I wrong for saying that? Am I misreading the last, I don't know, 4 to 8 years of AOC? Strongly worded letter could be the title of her autobiography. She don't do shit but write strongly worded letters. She don't win she don't win senior committee seats. She can't even help other people win anymore. And she couldn't help Jamal Bowman retain his seat in New York. And you think that she could beat Chuck Schumer? Think about that. She couldn't help Jamal Bowman retain his seat in New York, but she can beat Chuck Schumer. Okay. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't like Chuck Schumer. But my point is, like, y'all are grossly overestimating AOC's ability to win. And I feel like it's already going, I feel like it's going to bite y'all in the ass. I can see it coming. We're all predicting it. We're already predicting, like, and y'all are going to be so surprised when she doesn't win. Once again, y'all going to be like, damn, I guess the world wasn't ready for AOC. No, AOC was never ready for the world. We made our demands clear, and she decided she wanted to keep pretending to be a leftist, pretending to be a populist, pretending to be on the side of the working class. And we kept saying, we ain't falling for your pretend bullshit. So I just want to be clear. We're calling it now. Y'all keep pretending like AOC gonna win, and we gonna keep looking the other way and pretend like y'all ain't full of shit. We already told y'all. We're like, we already told y'all. We just want to look over here now, and we're going to get to mutual aid funding and organizing because we already had this conversation with y'all. Y'all didn't want to hear it, so here we are.
That's why you won.
Yeah.
In that district that you, that's why you won.
Purple as they come.
Well, right, because the people, they didn't want to vote for Donald Trump, but they're not out there on the far left either.
No.
Right?
They want balance. They want common sense. They want people.
Of course, Bill Maher would say that.
Who are serious about getting the job done. For my district, my biggest issue, lifting the cap on salt and providing real tax relief to people. Protecting critical services like Medicaid. And we're...
Anyway, so it's just, this man had nothing to add to that. Bill Maher is such a fucking tool. This is why I was laughing with Russell the other day from Due Dissonance. Whenever I had the realization that like Bill Maher had to take a break from his show because the writers went on strike, and I put 2 and 2 together. I'm like, wow, so he actually can't even do a fucking show without his writers. That explains a lot. It really does. Let's check out this article real quick. Talking about this beef that Mr. Hogg has with the party. So y'all know that he actually has been willing to call out genocide, so I will commend him for that. He has been willing to call out neoconservative policies that the Democrats have supported, so I will applaud him for that. But there's a dichotomy of time where he refused to acknowledge what the Democrats were doing, how the Democrats contributed to all these problems that we're dealing with today. And then when he got elected as a DNC vice chair, then he got bold. And of course, now he's paying for that. But my point is, even if he's being bold right now, it's calculated. I don't buy it. He is aware that being treated as a pariah within the Democratic Party will make him, at least on social media and amongst Gen Z, more popular and help him build his brand. I just want to be clear. Just because he's saying and doing the right thing does not mean he is well-intentioned. So just so we're clear. Now, some people will confuse that. Some people, well, they'll say, well, why we should be celebrating when he says the right thing. Yeah, okay, cool. He says some cool things, but like at the same time, intentions do matter, because intentions will, if the intentions are not pure or altruistic, or at least with the goal in mind in furthering the progress amongst the working class, then he will do the next convenient thing. And if it's convenient to stab the working class in the back, he will do so. So yeah, I don't care if you say the right thing if your intentions are shit, basically. Especially when you don't have any power to actually enact anything. It's not like he can do anything. So his intentions, the intentions behind what he says, are important. This is Parkland survivor David Hogg to be ousted from the DNC following investigation into his election. Yeah, I know, that's hilarious. Hogg, 25 years old, rose to national prominence after surviving the mass shooting of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida, February 14, 2018. I do want to say, surviving the shooting, that, like in David Hogg's case, you know, we're still trying to confirm that. We cannot confirm or deny whether he survived the shooting, but we do know that he did go to that school at some point. I want to be clear about that. A Democratic National Committee panel has found that gun control activist David Hogg and a colleague were not properly elected to be among its 5 vice chairs earlier this year, paving the way for their removal. It's really convenient. Hogg, 25 years old, rose to national prominence after surviving the mass shooting at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Parkland, Florida. Allegedly. He allegedly was there when the shooting happened, allegedly, on February 14, 2018. And he co-founded March for Our Lives. I just want to say, I don't find it coincidental that the last surviving face, if you will, of March for Our Lives is the mediocre white guy with no upper lip whose dad is in the FBI. And no one has proof that he was actually in the school at the time. And everyone was literally predicting that he would be in this position at this point in his life, because it was always meant for him to be in this position and have this level of prominence. Just feel like we should probably mention that part, because March for Our Lives was a group, and people had said back then that he just kind of like finessed his way into the group. Next thing you know, he was the face of the group. Then the next thing you know, we didn't hear from anybody else in the group. He the last one. And everyone said back then, the people who were really paying attention, like, yeah, we see where this is going. Mr. Asset, but whatever. So he has since become a vocal political commentator, critical of President Donald Trump and the Democratic Party's failure to earn the trust of the electorate. That second part came later. It didn't come during the Biden presidency, or else, personally, I probably wouldn't be so critical of him. Timing matters. Hogg made waves last month by announcing that his new organization, Leaders We Deserve, co-founded with Kevin Latta, the former campaign manager for Florida Representative Maxwell Alejandro Frost, the first Gen Z member of Congress, intends to support primary challengers out of touch, ineffective House Democrats occupying safe congressional seats that it believes have not done enough to oppose the Trump administration. So, man, let's just say if I was somebody trying to jumpstart an organization, bring attention to this organization, fundraise for this organization, maybe I would do what AOC did whenever she was trying to rise to prominence. When she was Queen Clapback, tweeter in chief, if you will, being adversarial with the Democratic Party, but not in a way that's efficacious, not in a way that actually moves us forward, only adversarial when it's convenient, only on social media or only in interviews, but never actually substantively challenging the Democratic Party in any way that would benefit us or that could permanently harm her career. And she gets a lot of money because of that, as far as Congress is concerned, like congressional fundraising is concerned. Never does anything for us, but gets a lot of money, right? She's also helped other organizations, progressive organizations, raise a lot of money. David Hogg, there's a lot of things, but that boy ain't stupid. He sees an opportunity when it arrives, and he's good at marketing himself. I mean, he just ended up on Bill Maher after they were made aware that he was about to be ousted. So, like, since when? Since when does Bill Maher bring on people who are genuinely adversarial to the Democratic Party in a way that benefits the, like, if he does bring them on, he's like arguing with them the whole time. So, just saying. And what has already been interpreted as an attack on that strategy, the DNC's Credentials Committee on Monday upheld a complaint brought by Oklahoma activist Kaylin Free, who lost out on one of the vice chair positions on the February 1st elections, and subsequently accused the DNC of breaking its own rules on gender diversity, potentially invalidating the elections of Hogg and Malcolm Kenyatta. I will tell you, as a co-founder of the DNC fraud lawsuit, reading this, the only reason I'm laughing is so I don't start cussing everybody out. Because all of a sudden, I'm reading according to this, the Democratic Party actually does care about breaking its own rules and feels the need to correct the issue of breaking its own rules now in 2025 when it's time to oust David Hogg. Whenever we were suing the shit out of them with the DNC fraud lawsuit, they didn't give a damn about following the rules. In fact, no, their exact words were, they don't need to follow their own charter because they wrote it and they can do what they want to. They can break the rules. They can select candidates in a smoke-filled room behind closed doors and no one can do anything about it. That was what they said. But now that they want to use, now that they want to use those rules to oust David Hogg, well, now we have to be upright, upstanding citizens and make sure that we follow our DNC charter. It's the hypocrisy from all sides, bro. That's what's killing me. That's what's killing me. because I do want to be frank. Like, if they thought that David Hodge was an op, like was the opposition really, like true opposition, they would have never allowed him to be the vice chair to begin with. Now they feel like he's a problem, and so they're dealing with the problem. You see what I'm saying? Like, if they always have a way to make sure you don't get in a position where you can influence outcomes, whether it's beforehand because you showed them who you were too soon, or after the fact because you've revealed who you were. Like, it don't matter if you have a secure. Ask Cynthia McKinney. Ask Cynthia McKinney. Cynthia McKinney didn't lose her congressional seat. It was taken away from her. That's what AOC is worried about, to be completely honest with you. That's what a lot of people get worried about. Like, there's no such thing as a safe district when people can literally just take your district from you and take the voters out of the matter. So, a full DNC vote will now be held on the committee's findings, which could mean new elections being staged. That's a perfect word to use. Staged, because they're probably going to be bullshit elections. With the same 5 candidates, including Hogg and Kenyatta, on the ballot once again. While this vote was based on how the DNC conducted its officers' elections, which I had nothing to do with, it is also impossible to ignore the broader context of my work to reform the party, which loomed large over this vote. Hodge responded in a statement. And to that I will say, or rather, I will let Sabby Sabs say exactly how I was feeling when I read that statement. Oh, hold on. What we say to that, Sabby? What did I tell you? There is no reforming this party. There is no reforming the Democratic Party. Not to mention, I think I speak for all of us when I say, bro, we way past reform when it comes to anything. But specifically when it comes to the Democratic Party, there is no reforming fascists. There is no reforming a party that is okay with genocide. I don't understand what's so hard to comprehend about that. Imagine finding out your friend's a serial killer, because that's basically what the Democratic Party is guilty of at this point. It's political serial killing. Imagine finding out your friend's a serial killer, and you like, but I can save him. Oh, you know what? Y'all know that show You, with the stalker? That I haven't seen all of it. I've seen parts of it because my wife watched it. But I saw the first season. I saw enough to be like, this is nuts. And then I saw enough towards the end where literally you got people who think that they can change this man from being a fucking serial killer. And I'm thinking to myself, bruh, am I missing parts of this show or something? Did something happen? Why do people think that they can change this man? I could be the one to fix him. You know, there are always girls that like that. There's always girls who think they can fix a bad boy, but like, this dude's a serial killer. Okay? He kills serially. He has a serial number on his murders and deaths that he causes. Okay? That's what the Democratic Party is. Once you are okay with genocide, and like, think about that whole like that 4-minute segment. No one even brought up the genocide. Like, how can you have a conversation with about the Democratic Party, about the fact that they lost, right? The fact that they lost the House too, the fact that Kamala lost, the fact that Joe Biden was extremely unpopular before he left, the fact that Michigan made it clear that they voted against him against her because of the genocide. That a lot of people made it clear that they voted against them because of the genocide. And you're like, yeah, but we're not going to have a conversation about this. Bro, damn near every conversation you have should be about how the hell y'all going to make up for financing a genocide. And to be frank, I don't think there's really a conversation you can't have. There's not really any justification that I mean, you would have to take literally everybody out the party, bro. Like everybody. Anyone who was in any official position within the Democratic Party and didn't speak up about the genocide, like you better have receipts on receipts on receipts. Didn't say names, didn't call out Joe Biden directly, didn't call out Kamala Harris directly. Anyone, you gotta take all of them out, which would basically mean that it's not the Democratic Party anymore, which is cool with me. But when you still have people in official positions that was okay with genocide, you have serial killers in your party. There is no reforming a serial killer. You feel me? David, that's where you went wrong. You thought that you could reform serial killers. Zionists, psychopaths, who have no moral compass whatsoever. Who looked at us dead in our face and was like, man, what y'all talking about? Joe Biden, that man he has the clarity of a 19-year-old college grad. Like, no. That boy is deteriorating in front of the entire world, and y'all are really gonna act like it's not happening, and then gonna gaslight us 2-3 years later and be like, "What you talking about? We always knew he was his mental state was deteriorating." What? Come on, bro. That's the party you want to reform. But like I said, probably was a great opportunity for him to fundraise. I'm sure that his little I'll say NGO, yeah, his little NGO, his little nonprofit. Probably doing pretty well right now, huh? So was it really about reforming a party? Was it really about building up a political movement? Or was it about finding his next grift? Hey, look. I know AOC, she's dumb. Politically, she's not all that astute. But like when it comes to raising money, she did put out a little blueprint for everybody. And them generations, them Gen Z kids, they picking up. She's like, oh man, just complain about the Democratic Party after the Democratic Party has power. And you can raise a lot of money doing that. Okay, bet. I got that. We're gonna write that down. But like, do I actually have to pass legislation? No, I ain't gotta pass legislation. Why would you have to do that? You ain't gotta do no work. You just gotta go out there and say some shit. Say like, oh man, fight the oligarchy. Rich people bad. Tax the rich, except for me. Like things like that. Bring jobs back. We don't know where they went. Bring them back though. Lower prices. Donald Trump sucks. Old Democrats need to retire. Just say stuff like that, bro. They'll eat it up and give you a bunch of money. I mean, that's basically what they do. That's what they did. Let's move on to Trump. UAE, Saudi Arabia speech, the Syria situation, because that whole thing is just, we're going to talk about it, man, because I feel like there are a lot of people who are not being consistent in calling out Trump. If Biden would go and say some of the stuff and do some of the stuff that Trump is doing, y'all would be on his ass about it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Check out this hotspot video I did right quick, fast, and in a hurry. Oh, this man Trump thing, he's slick. I see you, playboy, out here trying to collect that $10 million bounty for yourself. Or at least I hope that's the case. Otherwise, you better have a damn good explanation as to why you out here rubbing shoulders with a literal terrorist. While Trump was in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, he met with the president of Syria. And I use the word president very loosely. Now, normally, most people wouldn't perceive it as a big deal that one president of one of the most powerful nations in the world is meeting with another president. However, Ahmed al-Sharaa was a literal terrorist. And this literal terrorist, who had a $10 million bounty on his head, was made the president of Syria after the United States and its allies helped to overthrow the Syrian government of Bashar al-Assad. So after a meeting with this literal terrorist, Trump decided to lift all sanctions on Syria. And when asked in an interview how Trump feels about this new president, who is indeed a terrorist, he said that he has a very, very strong past. And if Erdogan likes him, then so does he.
How did you find the Syrian president?
Right. Right. I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Yeah. Strong pass. Very strong pass fighter. Holding it together. I spoke with President Erdogan. I'm very friendly with it. He feels he's got a shot.
Because everybody knows Erdogan is known for his astute and acute judgment of moral character. Now, it's important to realize that Trump lifted these sanctions after the United States and its allies have been bombing Syria, have been robbing Syria, have been giving pieces of Syrian land to Saudi Arabia, have been giving pieces of Syrian land to Israel. I mean, they're lifting these sanctions just a couple of weeks after this president got done massacring his own people, oppressing religious minorities in the region. And the reason Syria had these sanctions put on them is because the United States and its allies accused the former president, Assad, of all of the things this literal terrorist is actually guilty of. The only difference in Syria politically between then and now is that a former leader of Al-Qaeda and ISIS is the president. We don't know if they will ever hold elections again. This current president has made it clear he refuses to fight Israel no matter how much territory they steal from the Syrian people. Oh, and once again, he's a literal terrorist. I mean, a literal terrorist. So MAGA, unfortunately for you guys, I think it's pretty safe to say that Trump isn't actually after the $10 million down. But what's more important to consider is the message that's being sent by the United States and its allies. You see, the United States sanctions in some way, form, or fashion just about a third of the world's population. Trump recently cut off all trading ties with South Africa based off of a racist policy that doesn't exist and a genocide that isn't happening, all because the president signed an anti-apartheid policy. The United States is currently sanctioning Burkina Faso's military, trying to impede them from fighting the terrorists that the United States and its Western allies undoubtedly put there to try and take the government back. And I mean, every week, they're trying to come up with a new reason to sanction Iran for a nuclear weapons program they literally have zero proof exists. Or the sanctions they put on Venezuela, or the money that they stole from them for having the audacity, I mean the unmitigated gall to want to nationalize their oil supply and make sure that the money is spent on the people of Venezuela instead of multinational corporations from the United States. And the list goes on and on and on. So the message the United States is sending is that if you put a president in charge who was a former leader of a terrorist organization who was willing to oppress religious minorities and ethnic minorities and give Israel whatever they want when they want, then you ain't got nothing to worry about, dog. We'll lift them sanctions right off you. I just got one question for you MAGA folks. Is this what y'all meant by make America great again? Rubbing shoulders and shaking hands with a terrorist who undoubtedly took American lives? Because if that's the case, then we got two completely different definitions of what it means to be great. Because minds like me, I don't get down with terrorists. You will not find me busting out the two-step at Club Al-Qaeda anytime soon. Just saying. But clearly we can't say the same thing for your president. Yeah, man. So I'm not gonna lie. This whole situation with Trump and Saudi Arabia got me a little confused as to where people stand on what they expect from Trump. Because don't get me wrong, right? So like this meeting that he had with the Prince of Saudi Arabia and the president of Syria, like leading to lifting sanctions, under normal circumstances, I would be cheering for that because I'm against sanctions. However, like I said in the video, this president is literally guilty of all of the things, guys, all of the things that they accuse Bashar al-Assad of, all of the reasons that they tried to justify overthrowing the government of Bashar al-Assad. Everything. And somehow there were negotiations had and a conversation had, and I mean, a dictator. I mean, I don't know how else to call it. You know, he's a prince. He's a monarch. He convinced Trump to let the man who won't even hold elections be free of the sanctions that Assad had to try and govern his country under. And there are people cheering for this, knowing that effectively we're only relieving him of these sanctions because he's a U.S. puppet. And he's a U.S. puppet because he's part of a terrorist organization the United States helped create. Okay. So like, are y'all, and it's a U.S. puppet that the United States helped create. And this man, I don't know if y'all are aware of this, but in March, yeah, I think it was March of this year, right after he was put in power, basically, they passed a law where basically there will be a Sharia law, and which is why you saw the uprising. Now, the reason why is because they were already worried about how ethnic minorities would be treated in Syria. People don't realize this, but Assad was a secular president. In other words, it was just laws that govern the country, not necessarily Sharia law. I don't really have a problem with how people choose to go. I don't feel like that's any of our business. However, I do find it inconsistent is what I'm saying, because the secular president has sanctions put on him. But Trump, after somebody put a terrorist, literal terrorist, a former leader, guy who had $10 million on his head because he was a terrorist, he implements Sharia law. Then, you know, his government is responsible for killing a bunch of people after that. And people are cheering as if Trump achieved the goal. No, that would be actually maintaining the status quo. And I don't think people understand that. Since when do we punish our puppets? I'm going to say it again. It is maintaining the status quo, because since when do we punish our puppets? We sanction the military of Burkina Faso as they're actively fighting terrorist organizations, multiple, which doesn't make any sense because we're supposedly trying to fight. That's what the U.S. said we want to do, right? That's what the West said they like to do. They like to fight terrorists. So why would you then sanction specifically the military of Burkina Faso, for example, while they're trying to fight terrorists? Oh, that's right, because you probably put them there. And you don't want them to succeed because you want them to overthrow the government so France can get their money back and their gold back and continue to take advantage of what was once one of the poorest countries in the world. You literally cut off trade ties with South Africa just a few weeks ago and shipped a bunch of white people from South Africa to the United States. Why? Because of a policy of some racist persecution that you swear exists, never showed any proof of, because it doesn't exist. And because the president signed a policy. It wasn't him who passed it. It was the legislature that passed it. But he signed an anti-apartheid policy. And you whined, bitch, complained, and moaned about it. And cut trade ties off with him and with South Africa and said you're going to stop helping them with their medical initiatives and things like that. And threatened sanctions on them. Okay? Their president isn't a terrorist. Nor are they sponsors of terrorists. Nor have their president been responsible for killing its own citizen. Okay. Iran, you want to sanction. Oh, shit, there's already sanctions on Iran. Like I said in the video, they come up with new reasons to sanction Iran every day because of a program for a nuclear weapon that there's never been any proof of, and his own administration admits there is not any viable proof that they're even trying to initiate a nuclear weapons program. And as I was taught the other day by Dr. Wilmer Leon, I didn't realize that that was actually based in their following of the Quran. They will never make nuclear weapons. Because remember, I was always confused. I'm like, bro, if it was me, I would have been made a nuclear weapon, because Iran is always under attack by somebody on behalf of Israel and the United States. And he's like, the reason that their calculations seem off is because they won't do it because of their religion. They strongly believe that anything that could cause that type of fallout that would endanger innocent lives is haram. Like they can't do it. So you're sanctioning all those countries for doing the right thing. And the puppet, you take the sanctions off after he passed Sharia law, after, ladies and gentlemen, he gets caught killing a bunch of people. After, ladies and gentlemen, he was supposed to announce a new election. Like when the elections will start, we don't know. Oh, just kidding. They're not going to be any. And now that he has the sanctions taken off of Syria, he has no incentive on holding elections. And they used to say that Assad was stealing elections. Y'all remember that? Because I remember. They used to say Assad was stealing elections. And that was part of the reason they put sanctions on him back then. Interesting that. So then, in amongst all this is within the same time frame, Trump then gives a speech in Saudi Arabia about the UAE. And politically, I will admit, it was a smooth speech politically. Here's what Clint Russ said about it. And I like Clint, by the way, because he's a straight shooter for the most part. Even though I don't agree with everything he says, his objective perception of what's happening in the moment is genuinely pretty spot on. He says, whoever wrote this speech deserves a raise. Trump is embracing nationalism and non-intervention, at least on paper. Most importantly, he's demolishing the entire legacy of neoconservatism. Once again, at least on paper or in speeches. Mark Levin, Ben Shapiro, Dave Rubin are going to have aneurysms. Good. So let's see what he had to say.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from...
Oh, hold on 1 second.
And it's crucial for the wider world to note this great transformation has not come from Western interventionists or flying people in beautiful planes giving you lectures on how to live and how to govern your own affairs. No, the gleaming marvels of Riyadh and Abu Dhabi were not created by the so-called nation builders, neocons, or liberal nonprofits like those who spent trillions and trillions of dollars failing to develop Kabul, Baghdad, so many other cities. Instead, the birth of a modern Middle East has been brought by the people of the region themselves, the people that are right here, the people that have lived here all their lives, developing your own sovereign countries, pursuing your own unique visions and charting your own destinies in your own way. It's really incredible what you've done. In the end, the so-called nation builders wrecked far more nations than they built, and the interventionists were intervening in complex societies that they did not even understand themselves. They told you how to do it, but they had no idea how to do it themselves. Peace, prosperity, and progress ultimately came not from a radical rejection of your heritage, but rather from embracing your national traditions and embracing that same heritage that you love so dearly.
So now monarchy and Sharia law is good. I just want to, now I don't have a, look, like I said, I'm not the person that likes to get involved with other people's business. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just trying to understand what do they support and not support now? What does Trump and his supporters actually support? I'm confused. Because at first I was told that that their culture is literally the problem, right? Like, isn't that what they say about all the problems in the UK? Is those damn Muslim immigrants, those damn, it's them, it's those brown people. And now Sharia law and literal monarchy and dictatorship is actually good culture. I'm confused, is all I'm saying. And also, this speech is full of lies, and I'm gonna explain why in a second. Well, look at him. He just clapping. Yeah, you better tap dance for me, monkey. Look at him. Bro. Yeah, no, I saw the YMCA. That shit was hilarious. Yeah, so first of all, let me just say, whenever the United States makes these claims that they support and only support democracies, you can show them that speech. You can show them the handshake between Prince Saudi Arabia and Donald Trump literally doing a handshake to YMCA in the background, which is nuts because it's like the gay anthem of gay anthems, and it's like a gay anthem being played while Donald Trump, a Republican, is shaking hands with the Prince of Saudi Arabia. Bro, it's like a South Park skit. You can't make that up if you wanted to, bro. Like, for real, right? So there's that. But I want you all to, he says, oh, look at what can happen whenever you allow a country to pursue its self-determination without intervening. You know, unlike bad, because he pointed out where we did intervene and it was problematic, which is true. But it's because of the way we intervene that it became problematic. Genuinely helping a nation through bilateral cooperation, or in some cases just literally giving them every advantage while taking the advantage away from other countries. Like, if you're genuinely helping a nation, they're going to prosper. If they have good politics and do right by their people. And it's, if you're actually doing just the bare minimum and you don't have intervention from the US, it's usually pretty hard to fail, to be completely honest with you. But then there are some countries that manage to succeed in spite of the US, and they become even more dangerous, and you got to intervene with those countries. Now, the UAE, which is a federation of, I think, 7 countries, and then Saudi Arabia, he's saying that we didn't intervene, that we had nothing. It's just them. And it's their culture. It's their investments. It's exclusively their decision-making that help them prosper. I want to be clear about something. This is why I say Trump is kissing the ring, not only with the UAE, or excuse me, with Saudi Arabia, with the UAE, Qatar. I mean, Danny Boy has got a $400 million jet. Jumbo jet. But like I said, you know, even though it's illegal as hell, joke's on him, it's a Boeing. So odds are, if he takes one too many long flights, we gonna be calling Vice President Vance President Vance here pretty soon. So just remember, it's a Boeing. So I don't know how often you want to be on that thing. Anyway, but I say he kissed the ring because that whole speech is he's full of shit. Do you know, we just announced $200 billion in investments and aid to the UAE. We have one of our largest bases in the Middle East, in Qatar. Actually, the UAE also, we cooperate militarily with them. We give them billions of dollars in military aid. We assisted Saudi Arabia in the genocide of Yemenis people as they took their land. We assisted Saudi Arabia as they took land from Syria. Now, whenever Saudi Arabia once or twice stepped out of line and did something we didn't like perhaps join BRICS, for example, they refused to renew that petro contract with we didn't try to overthrow their government. So all the benefits that they got from working with the United States remained, but the negatives that come with the United States trying to overthrow your government never happened because we never tried to overthrow their government. Even though we claim we don't like dictatorships, we claim we don't like states that sponsor terrorism, even though literally Osama bin Laden is from Saudi Arabia. He is part of the Saudi Arabian royal, or he was, or allegedly was, part of the Saudi Arabian royal family. Like, we know Qatar sponsors terrorists. Okay. The prominence of the UAE, the Emiratis, is a direct result of U.S. interference, but it's the type of U.S. interference that doesn't involve overthrowing your country. It's the type of U.S. interference where the United States elites benefit from you having the economic power and influence that you have in that region. It's that power of, yo, Emiratis, as long as y'all stay neutral in all the problems that we create, or hell, in the case of Qatar or Abu Dhabi in some cases, like they actually help and assist. Like our Navy pulls up to Abu Dhabi all the time. We launch operations from there. Like, if y'all stay neutral or help us out, bro, we're going to let y'all prosper. And we're going to let everybody think it's because of y'all. We have been, well, since the 50s and or I want to say since the 70s? I think that the UAE was founded around the 70s, if I'm not mistaken. But basically, since the UAE was founded, we've been giving them millions and millions and billions. We are funding their AI industry. They're trying to make significant advances in AI. We're about to fund that. And they will benefit. The military, like I said, we already give them billions in military aid. And we know where those countries, the UAE, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, we know who they give that money to, terrorist organizations. And we know who they don't help out. Truly oppressed nations. Nations that would otherwise be able to compete with them. Think about that. When Iraq was under siege by the United States, did the UAE jump in and help them? Did Qatar jump in and help them? No, we were launching operations out of Qatar. Everybody knows if you deploy, where's your first stop when you go to Iraq and Afghanistan? Qatar. No, they helped to overthrow these nations. They helped to destabilize these nations to maintain their economic prominence. So I agree with Clint in a sense, like where Clint said, I'll pull it back up for you guys so you can see it if you didn't see it. Where Clint says, whoever wrote this speech deserves a raise. Trump is embracing nationalism and non-intervention. Most importantly, he's demolishing the entire legacy of neoconservatism. He is in that speech. That is what Trump is doing. Right? Like, that's undeniable. The problem that I have with it, where I would part ways with, and he, by the way, Clint liked my tweet where I was like, yeah, I mean, the only problem with all that shit is it's a lie. That's the problem I have with it. Yeah, you can say all that, but it's a lie. You can say you don't believe in interventionism, but you can't pretend like we didn't just leave Yemen and that you weren't planning on staying. He only left Yemen because we were getting our asses handed to us. New York Times reported on this. There was an 18-month plan that was proposed to Trump. Trump said that to pursue that plan, there needed to be progress, tangible progress that he saw in 30 days. And instead of tangible progress, they got a tangible ass whooping. We spent billions of dollars, lost tens of millions of dollars in drones. F-16s and F-35s almost getting shot out the sky by Houthi defense systems. And there was nothing to show for it. But why were we there? Because we were intervening. That is interventionism. We were intervening in that region of the world. You see the hypocrisy here? So when I say he kissed the ring, that's what I'm referring to. He's kissing the ring. He's kissing the ring because he knows if he kisses their ring, it will benefit him. It will benefit the elites. All of a sudden, if he pretends to support Sharia law, if he pretends to support Islam, if he compliments the culture, which is literally the total opposite of everything that he campaigned on, everything that his followers talk about, everything that they complain about. How often do we literally have the smears and lies about Palestine? Damn, Bill, I just did a damn segment, y'all. Now, and obviously Bill Maher is not a Trump supporter, but I'm saying I just did a segment on how Bill Maher was echoing the stereotypes of Muslim countries like Palestine, like Yemen, Muslim countries like the ones that make up the UAE and Saudi Arabia. And in fact, none of those stereotypes, ironically, actually apply to Palestine. And all of them, funny enough, apply to Saudi Arabia in the UAE. That's the fucking hilarious part. All the stereotypes that they want to say apply to Palestine, ladies and gentlemen, whether it be Bill Maher or Trump or his supporters. None of them apply to Palestine. Oh, women can't go to college. They can't do this. They put religious minorities or have their head chopped off. And no, none of that's true. But it is true in the UAE. It is true in Saudi Arabia. Every stereotypical justification they have for dehumanizing Palestinians, for trying to dehumanize Yemeni people, for trying to dehumanize people from Afghanistan, Iraq, Libya, all of those stereotypes, they don't apply to any of those places. They apply to the places that Trump just got done praising. And he said that their culture is responsible for their success. So which is it? Sharia law good, Sharia law bad. Terror is good, terror is bad. Sponsoring terrorism good, sponsoring terrorism bad. I'm trying to understand where the goalpost is at so I know where to aim before old girl pulls the football from under my feet like Charlie Brown. That's basically what would happen. I mean, that's what's going to happen to y'all. It's happening already. Because y'all just, like I said, they just let Trump convince them that he's a non-interventionist. Oh, look at him leaning towards non-interventionism, embracing non-interventionism. No, he tried to intervene. He just didn't do well. He failed at it. Is he? So would y'all say that he's intervening or not intervening in South Africa right now? I would put that in the category of intervening. Put sanctions on Burkina Faso. Oh, not just put sanctions on. They literally got this little Carlton, Uncle Tom tap dancing ass motherfucker Langley, General Langley, to come out and try and, ladies and gentlemen, out of curiosity. I mean, we're still in Haiti. that hasn't changed. Oh, that whole weird thing with the sending people not back to El Salvador, sending people to a Salvadorian prison based on lies and fake information and fake tattoos like that. Like, is that intervention or non-interventionism? Because I don't know what there's not nationalism. I don't know what that is. But I know that it required a payoff of a Salvadorian president to keep hush-hush what he was doing. And the non-criminals he was bringing into his criminal justice system. What we did in the Red Sea, what we were doing in the Red Sea, interventionism, non-interventionism. The man announced that we're going to take over Gaza. Interventionism or non-interventionism? I'm curious, like what? Like I have no problem celebrating Trump's victories. Y'all know Trump surprisingly actually put out an executive order to make prescription drugs cheaper, and that is an amazing thing. And it's amazing because he actually is bypassing Congress to do it. Whereas the Democrats always use the fucking excuse that they couldn't get it done because Congress wouldn't allow them to do it. And they'd always blame the Republicans for not letting them do it, blah, 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 blah. So they did the bare minimum, something about Medicaid and Medicare. We're going to lower prescription drugs, but not all prescription drugs, and not for everybody, just for some people. And Trump said, nah, damn all that. They can negotiate, and it got to be 50% of the prices. If y'all don't negotiate, come up with a good price, it's going to be slashed to 50%. Fuck pharmaceutical industry. That is a great thing, guys. That's an amazing thing. And to be fair to Trump, that's actually kind of consistent with his policies on prescription drugs, because he actually wanted to cut prescription drugs costs before his first term. I remember that. Okay. That's a good thing. That's something that should be celebrated. And it's kind of weird because nobody from his camp, all the influencers, like, they're not talking about that. I don't. What is that? Because that actually helps the working class? Is it because like it's not a racist policy or some shit? Like y'all out there cheering for them 50 white people they bring from South Africa. What? But like he actually signed an executive order that will have a significant impact on the working class. Like my mom's insulin will be affordable now. Like I got happy as hell when I heard this news, guys. There are some people who will be able to live now because of this policy potentially. The pharmaceutical industry is going crazy, attacking Trump because of this policy. Lobbyists are going crazy attacking Trump because of this policy. This is a policy we should be celebrating. Not speeches where Trump is pretending to be something he is not. And we know that because he is demonstrably showing that he is not a non-interventionist based off of his policies and his actions. That motherfucker, he pulled out of Yemen like 3 days ago. He pulled out the Red Sea like 3 days ago, y'all. Like, you can't go from let's bomb them into oblivion, putting out tweets talking about they're never going to attack another American ship again when that wasn't even happening like a week or two ago. And just because he put out of the Red Sea like 3 days ago, after they got their asses handed to them, now he's a non-interventionist because he's kissing her. Like, come on, guys. Show me some consistency. That's all I'm asking for. Because after this guy is out of office, we gotta work. I mean, we gotta try to work together where we can anyway. But for real, after this guy's out of office, we gotta work together. And I'm not feeling too confident right now in our ability to get things done. It is not because I don't want to work with, I don't mind working with the other side. Y'all know how I feel about that. But there is a lack of consistency and an attachment to demagoguery, like an attachment to the ego that does not allow y'all to admit when y'all guy is wrong and you were wrong about him. And that same attachment to your ego and unwillingness to admit when you're wrong can translate to policy and organizing and working with the other side and who you decide to work with and not work with. And like that's a problem. Especially because it's like, bro, when else can you hold him accountable? This is his last term. He's not coming back. This is the time, guys. This is the time to hold him accountable. And if you are going to cheer for something, cheer for genuine progress, like these prescription drugs. That is genuine progress. I couldn't believe, bro, I went to go verify that shit like 4 times whenever I heard about it. I was like, ain't no way he did that shit. That's like killing Biden's policy, guys. And he bypassed Congress to do it. And the reason I had to go triple check it is because nobody was talking about it. There was Sabby who talked about it. Then like something came up on my YouTube casually, but it was trying to make an excuse as to why it will get overturned. Like that was the conversation they were having on MSNBC or some bullshit like that. And like none of his biggest supporters were talking about it. I'm like, y'all, that means y'all focus on the wrong thing. They were busy defending his speech, kissing the ring of all the leaders of Sharia law that he said culturally is the problem, that his supporters say culturally are the problem. I don't get it. Like, which is it, guys? I don't. If y'all just never gonna criticize him, man, then just fucking say that. Like, I guess, like, right? Can we just be consistent in that? Like, if you're never gonna criticize him and you just want us to be okay with that, just say that. Say that. We're never gonna criticize him, and that's what you gotta, just gotta live with that. Okay, cool. Appreciate you. Thanks for keeping it in the band. Want to move on to the next topic. Quick. I'll run through these last couple. Democrats are back. Doing what they do. Being late to the party and acting like they showed up early. Representative Summer Lee to introduce a resolution calling for the U.S. to spend trillions of dollars on reparations for Black Americans this week. JB asks, why didn't she do this when Biden was president? Why wait until the GOP has a majority of power? Now, I will have to say, I do got to put a little disclaimer. In the case of Summer Lee actually has a pass for the Biden presidency because she wasn't in Congress. She wasn't in the U.S. House of Representatives. She ran for office and won recently. So that's why she personally didn't do it. Now, why the Democrats didn't do it, we're going to get into in a second. Really quick, thank you for the super chat. The Peopled Infinite. I don't know if you answer questions, but do you use a green screen or specific software for your background? Trying to start up a pod myself. You the best. I use a green screen. I have a green screen on my chair. I used to have a green screen on my whole wall back in the day. Before I had kids, you know, it's different back in the day because I had my own room, my own studio set up. I used to have a green wall, but now I got a green screen on the back of my chair. And hopefully if we get a chance to move my office, I won't be using a green screen anymore because I can't use like half of my shirts with my green screen. So, but when you want cool backgrounds like this, you do have to, if you're going to use a green screen, I would suggest ordering a light like off of Amazon, like one of the studio lights. Don't use like the little ring light. It isn't enough. Get, if you can, try, I don't know what your space is like, but try to get like one studio light at least, because it makes such a massive difference. And when you're starting up your podcast, because the market right now is so saturated, like something as innocuous to some people as lighting can actually make a difference in whether or not people take you seriously. Don't ask me why. Maybe it's because people see good lighting and are like, oh, this person invests in their crafts. Therefore, I'm going to invest my energy and emotions and energy and time into them. So I don't know. But if you are going to use a green screen, do not skimp on the lighting. Figure out a way to have really good lighting and, you know, looks like this. Cool. All right. So like I said, in the case of Summer Lee, she was not in Congress. However, it isn't just Summer Lee. If it was just her, I'd be like, well, you know, JB, it won't, you know, she just got there. But nah, because we're going to check out this article real quick. They're putting her name out there, and I feel like the reason why they're using Summer Lee to introduce this instead of somebody else to introduce this is specifically because of what JB said. Like, why didn't y'all do this under Biden? So the Democrats are getting a little bit more strategic and bullshit. A little bit, only a little bit, not a lot. No, when I say saturated, I mean like the market of live streaming and podcasting is saturated. Oh man. Hey, Niko, great talk you gave on George. Oh, appreciate that. I appreciate that, man. You guys have been way too complimentary. I really appreciate that. I just talked how I normally talk, to be honest with you. I didn't really do anything that much different. I just tried to give context to a situation that, you know, was going on at the time. But I was really happy to see how many people really rocked with the conversation. I didn't know that so many people would like it, guys. I really did not. So everybody that tuned in that day, I really appreciate it. George actually has been very, very complimentary. And we are actually, not me and George, but me and one of the producers, or really two of the producers, are actually going to try to put a show together because they think they want to try to, they feel like I deserve an opportunity to have that type of production value. So like, that's cool, right? I was like, oh, word, shit. Okay, I didn't really think that. And they were like, yeah, no, we want to hook you up. Like, so we're gonna try to do a show once or twice a week, where once or twice a month to start, and then once or twice a week if it works out, where we actually do have a call-in show. So I'm actually super hype about it, but like, because everything that's been going on, like I said, in the background, it was hard to like, I haven't announced anything about it yet. So like, y'all the first people hearing about it just because y'all brought it up while I was streaming. So yeah, like we're gonna try to do a call-in show. They're gonna run it from their end, so I actually just only have to focus on talking instead of having to produce everything myself. And they're gonna do like more graphics. We're gonna probably give it a different name for the show. It's gonna be run not in the exact same format as George, but it will be run at that quality. We ran at that like level of quality, and it'll be smooth for that, because it'll be just like a straight news show where we do our interviews, have our monologue, soliloquy, and it's gonna be dope. I'm super excited about it. Like I said, I haven't gotten a chance to really let it settle in yet because of everything that's been going on, but yo, it's gonna be lit because I've been wanting to do call-in shows, y'all, forever. Like since Mikasa Sukasa. Like I've been wanting to do call-in shows. I know that y'all want to do y'all wanted me to do call-in shows, but the process of doing a call-in show is not easy if you don't have help, and it can be expensive. So I just, every time I try to do it, I'm like, yo, this is just too much. But yeah, Georgia people gonna help out, so it's gonna be dope. Makes a lot of sense. Thank you. Stay real, bud. Appreciate you. I'm glad I was able to help. Hold on, why is it showing up like this? This is weird. See, this is why we. Is it showing up weird for y'all too? Because it's showing up weird for me. I don't know why it's showing up like that. I'm trying to move it. No, I don't want it to show up like that either. Okay, this is strange. Sorry, y'all. I do not like the way this is making my screen look. That's also bizarre. I don't know why it's showing up like that. What is going on? Does it think I have two people here? I think that they think I have two people here. I think, let's try that again. Sorry, that was bothering the hell out of me. I did not like it. No, it's still doing the same shit, man. Whatever. Okay, whatever. Sorry. The weird rectangular angle is bothering the hell out of me. It could just be the resolution. Anyway, so look at this. Black members of Congress say reparations can wait in Trump's say reparations can't wait in Trump's anti-black America. Because apparently when Biden, the literal segregationist who militarized the shit out of the police while he was president, like in his America, reparations for some reason could wait. But now they can't. Let's hear the logic. A coalition of lawmakers and advocates says there is no better time to push varying forms of reparations as President Trump's administration continues to attack DEI and once protected civil rights. So right off the rip, I would probably make the argument that there was definitely a better time to push for reparations, and that time was when you had the House, the Senate, and the executive branch. Just as a random example. Not once, but like twice since I've been covering politics. Y'all had it under Obama. Okay, cool. Y'all literally had a black president. Okay, we're going to continue. Okay, black members of Congress and advocates convened on Capitol Hill on Tuesday for what they say is an urgent call for reparations. Once again, two completely different definitions of urgent. Even as Donald Trump's White House uses the power of the presidency to dismantle decades-long work to achieve equity and justice for Black communities harmed by the U.S. government-sanctioned chattel slavery and racial discrimination. The Why We Can't Wait, Advancing Reparative Justice in Our Lifetime congressional briefing brought together dozens of reparations advocates, community leaders, and policymakers to discuss the state of racism in America and several legislative bills that have been or will be introduced to seek reparative justice for black communities, including the descendants of formerly enslaved and the survivors of the Tulsa Race Massacre and black veterans denied federal benefits. So I just want everybody to kind of realize the irony here. I feel like I'm gonna say the obvious, but like it has to be said. I can't believe they invited a coalition called the Why We Can't Wait Coalition to talk in front of Congress after Congress literally waited this entire time to talk about reparations. They had a president. They had a president that they could have forced this issue upon. They had a House and they had a Senate. It could have been a type of, and we don't need to study anymore. We don't need any more studies. I just want to be clear about that part too. Like, so like, we're in a time right now where Trump has made his agenda as far as what he's going to do for white people. Republicans have made it, like, he's kind of clear on that, guys. Like, we can't front like he hasn't shown his preference, okay? If we're going to be honest about, a bunch of white South Africans are coming from South Africa because they feel like they're racially persecuted. Why? Because racial persecution doesn't exist anymore. Like, the moment that there wasn't an apartheid that gave them some type of economic favorability, they're like, discrimination, we got to leave. They have no connection to the United States. And Trump's like, man, come on, guys. I know how it feels to be a white guy. You know, when you thought everybody was on your side and now people are expecting you to play by the rules and you can't get any advantage. Come play for our team. We're going to take care of you. You dang near got to respect it. And I say that because the way you look at the CBC and the Democratic Party, how they treat their base, like, you would expect us to get special treatment, right? It's a CBC, it's Congressional Black Caucus. You would expect for them to act with, what was that word they like to use? They use? Oh, urgency. You would expect for them to act with some sense of urgency when it comes to something like reparations. Right? Why don't we get no privileged treatment from our black representatives the way white people getting privileged treatment from their white representatives? Oh, that's right, because they don't fucking like us. They don't care about us. They just literally use us to get in powerful positions and then pretend like they pretend like the necessity for reparations and reparative justice was not was in existence the last 4 years. And then all of a sudden, now that Trump is in power, we can't wait. Now we can't wait. Y'all are aware, like, racial inequity, racial inequality, like literal financial racial inequality, like that shit has been skyrocketing. The racial wealth gap is crazy. So, like, yeah, it can't wait. And I'm not saying it, and I'm not even talking about slavery. So let me just be clear about that. Because I feel like, once again, when we get into this conversation about reparations, people seem to want to go all the way back to slavery. And I can tell you, we don't gotta go back that far. We just go back a couple of decades. We can just go back to literally FDR. We can go back to redlining. Once again, break it down for you. The number one way to accrue wealth in the United States of America is through property ownership and home ownership. That's the number one way to accrue wealth. Redlining prevented black people from doing so. Prevented us from home ownership. We were disallowed to live in certain communities. Literally, they say if we build these communities, you are not allowed to live there. Okay. So because collateral was a big deal back in the day, as you all are aware, you know how you were able to get collateral or start a business, for example? You took out a mortgage on your home. How can you take out a mortgage on your home if you're not allowed to own the home? Okay, so talk about that. We could talk about Tulsa, Oklahoma. They talk about reparations for Tulsa, Oklahoma. What about Chicago? Because Black Wall Street there got destroyed. What about in Florida? Bro, Black Wall Streets all over the countries throughout the 20s were being annihilated. And it was with a very clear and specific goal of making sure that Black people as a whole could not accrue wealth and circulate the dollar within their own community in a way that could compete with the federal government. Because at that point, the national budget was simultaneously being established, and nobody really ever makes that connection in history. I don't understand why not, but black wealth at its peak was competitive with the United States government's wealth. And when you put 2 and 2 together, all of it starts to make sense. All that bullshit about race, like they were like, yeah, it had to do with race, but the race wars and somebody, touched somebody in the elevator or somebody blew a kiss or a whistle, like all that shit was made up to justify destroying the businesses in those black communities. Because they didn't destroy the homes. They destroyed the businesses and the banks. Once again, as I always say, we to this day do not know the official name of the official bank in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And that is not by accident. Okay, so we can talk about that. I mean, the fact that discrimination existed at all. The fact that we weren't allowed to own, think about this. We were not allowed to own, the first black bank was basically a finesse job where a white guy pretended to be the owner of the bank, but a black guy actually was the real owner. And then like some other stuff went down and it got closed because white people took it back over and it was the whole thing. But like, we weren't even allowed to own banks. So that was decades ago. Well, now about a century ago now, but still decades. Ain't that many decades in a century. Like, okay. Then redlining never just didn't stop even after it was illegal. It was still being done. Okay. Then there's the urban credit score. Then there's like the 94 crime bill where we were specifically being targeted. Y'all don't know what the urban credit score is? It's black people can have the exact same credit score as their white counterpart and will still have to pay a higher interest rate. Yes, this exists. Go ahead and look it up. So we always pay more and we earn less. So when I say reparations can't wait, I'm not saying it because because of slavery. Slavery, that's a whole different thing. That's its own thing. If we're gonna be real about it, if you can prove that you have descendants of slaves in your family, you should have your own separate set of reparations. In addition to, not we should all, no, in addition to, because the civil rights movement, my mom was born the year the civil rights, the Civil Rights Act passed, if I'm not mistaken. She was still a baby when discrimination was a thing. When segregation was a thing, guys. Okay. My grandma, who just recently passed away, dealt with segregation for a little more than half of her life. So yeah, it can't wait. But the irony of that whole argument, and I say it can't wait because ain't nobody else fucking wait. Ain't nobody else gotta wait. We're still paying Israel's reparations. I had nothing to do with World War II. Ain't no swastikas on me. I wasn't letting Hitler hold Olympics. I wasn't putting Hitler on Time magazine. I wasn't doing promoting Hitler apologia. I wasn't funding companies or allowing companies to fund the Nazi regime. I wasn't, like the UK was doing. I wasn't helping Hitler rebuild his navy and his military. That wasn't me. But somehow my tax dollars paying for those reparations to this day. Japanese got reparations, rightfully so. Native Americans, that's a sticky subject. They got some, but nowhere near what they deserve. But, they got some stuff. But black people, not only is there always an excuse by our ops, but there's always an excuse by the people who claim to be our allies. I don't want to see another picture of Cory Booker next to the word reparations. Cory Booker's been a senator for how long? Through how many Democratic presidents and through how many Senates that had a Democratic majority? In a House that had a Democratic majority. I don't want to see Cory Booker. So this is why I say they use Summer Lee's face because there was just probably damn near no other black person right now in the House or the Senate actually that was around during Biden's presidency that introduce this or try to introduce this. That could introduce this right now and then say, I wasn't around during Biden's presidency, but if I was, this is what I would have did. You get what I'm saying? So JB's point is valid. But it wouldn't necessarily apply to Summer Lee. It would apply to, I don't know, the entire fucking Congressional Black Caucus. I don't know what there is to discuss. I don't know what there is. There's so many studies that have been done. The work has been done. We know what is owed. Pay up. Why don't we ever ask, well, hey man, how are we gonna come up with this money to pay Israel, dog? How are we gonna come up with this money to pay Israel, dog? I don't know where we gonna find it at, man. Let me shake my pockets real quick. Let me shake my pockets. Let me check some change. Let me check the change in the seat cushions of Air Force One. See if we can find. I don't know how we gonna come up with it. Nah, we just write a fucking check and send it over. We ain't asked how we was gonna fund neo-Nazis in Ukraine. And we're giving them, y'all saw the USAID reports. We out there paying for their journalists, for colleges, for healthcare, for salaries of people who can't work because their business got shut down for whatever reason. Like, I would probably put that in the categories of reparations. We're paying reparations to Ukraine for something that, for a beef that they have with Russia. Ain't nobody shaking pockets and checking seat cushions to figure out how we're gonna pay for that. But what pisses me off is that no one has more excuses as to why reparations can't be done when they have all the power to do so than the black people that have the power to pass legislation, that have the microphone to put pressure on the leadership in their party that's supposed to represent the interests of the black people that unfortunately vote for them in massive. That's, bro, the word reparations pisses me off. And it's not because black people don't deserve them. It's because as long as black people continue to believe in the legitimacy, in the intentions of the Democratic Party, like, we're never going to make any progress in reparations. They put us last. Like, I want to be clear about something. Outside of those little pretty titles that they give the black people who shuck and jive for them, like Hakeem Jeffries, like Cory Booker, like Bakari Sellers, outside of them, we get put last by the Democratic Party. The Republican Party, or at least Trump in some cases, has done a better job at least pretending to give a shit about black people than the Democrats have. And this type of shit is why I always say, bro, the Democrats are more insidious. Because Trump is out there telling us exactly, hey man, we about to bring these white people over and we don't give a damn what y'all got to say. We're going to pretend like they're victims of racism. We don't give a damn. We literally, I mean, bro, their whole administration is DEI. It's just a bunch of DEI Barbies in that bitch. DEI Zionist Barbies. Like Russ said the other day on the show, it's like a archetype to be a part of the Trump administration. They made it very clear who they want to be the face. Okay, cool. So how you gonna respond? By being late to the party as usual. They're more loyal to the Zionists in Trump's administration than they are to the black people who elected them. Partially because they believe that they were going to represent their interests. Like, yo, man, we come from the same cloth, right? Y'all gonna represent us once y'all get there? No. Y'all gonna keep putting out that one, what's that bitch's name? Oh my God, what's her name? Crockett. Y'all gonna keep putting out Jasmine Crockett. Like anybody gives a damn about what she got to say. Like she's never did anything for black people. I heard using, I mean, bro, what she said some dumb shit the other day. She said, y'all gonna see how that I'm a real black woman. Like she was, bro, that shit was so like obnoxious. I'm just like, what does that even mean? Are you saying that like, black women should be known for being obnoxious and physically violent, because that's like a stereotype that we shouldn't perpetuate. I feel like, perhaps. Y'all keep putting Jasmine Crockett's out there to pretend like that's representative of the black community and that's what we want. No, motherfucker, we want change and we want y'all to leave us the fuck alone. Like, just leave us alone. We don't want extra. We want you to leave us alone. I don't know how many times we don't want extra. We just want what we're owed and we want you to leave us alone. We don't want to be hindered. We don't want our efforts to be impeded. We don't want literal federal policies to be passed to screw us over. That's all we ask for. We're not even asking for, we're not Ukrainian. We don't want extra. We're not Israelis. We don't want extra forever. Por siempre. Sin parar. We're not asking for that. We just want you to leave us alone. Like, can y'all like actually enforce redlining, the fact that redlining is supposed to be illegal? Can y'all actually like enforce that? Like, y'all haven't even managed to enforce or make sure that the laws that were negatively affecting us are not still negatively affecting us. The laws that were taken out of the picture, like redlining, like urban credit scores. Y'all can't even do that. And like the CBC is a thing. The Congressional Black Caucus, bro, they're race traders in designer clothes. That is what the CBC is. Race traders, cause like they'll answer to Chuck Schumer before they answer to you and I. They'll sit in a room and do what Bibi Netanyahu tells them to do before they will answer to you and I. And think about this, bro. They whenever they had all the power, they kept telling us that it was the Republicans that was stopping them from getting things passed. Think about that. Y'all remember? Because when Biden was, we're not getting it done because of the Republicans. We can't get it done because of the Republicans. Then how is Trump and the Republicans getting everything they want, and they only have the executive branch in one of the House of Congress? Explain that shit to me. How does it always work out? Republicans get everything they want, even when Democrats have one of the houses, or the Democrats have the Supreme Court. Like they have the House or the Senate and the Supreme Court, and Republicans have one or the other in the presidency, and somehow they still get everything they want. Explain that math. You can't even fight for us verbally if you feel like it's going to upset your masters, because you know, like, bro, it's like, I can't call it slavery because slavery, they ain't work for nothing, but it's really, really, really high paying indentured service. Like they still have a master. They got a master and a $200,000 salary. That's like the only difference. You got a master and a $200,000 salary. It's high paid indentured service. Because Hakeem Jeffries don't answer to us. He answers to Chuck Schumer. He answers to whoever the next white Democratic presidential nominee will be. He answers to his white elite donors. He answers to these white elite billionaires. Bakari Sellers, same thing. Van Jones, even though he's not a politician, but we know who. Because I really love Joe Biden. I really love him. But I hate to see him like that. Boy, you crying over Toby? Stop this, Toby. What the fuck? Why are you crying over segregation as Joe Biden? Jim Crow Joe Biden. You crying over him? You ain't crying over reparations. Oh, that's right, because you got $1 million in your bank account. You're not crying over that. But you crying over Joe Biden. And I can guarantee you, just so, I just call me a fortune teller. Y'all know they call me Niko Diamonds, even though it doesn't take much to predict this future. I can guarantee y'all, if the Democrats happen to win, I don't believe they will, But if they happen to win back the House and they happen to win the Senate, which I once again don't believe they will, but if it does happen, I guarantee you all this reparation shit will stop. Because what should happen in a situation where they win both the House and the Senate is that they should pass legislation. They should do everything in their power to pass and talk about and push and put pressure on Trump and put it in the news cycle, right? Because what then happens is the next presidential candidate has to run on passing the legislative agenda of the Democrats that they've been pursuing and saying that the only reason we couldn't get it done is because of Donald Trump. So then the next presidential candidate would have to sign off on it. And if he or she did not sign off on it, then they would be held accountable. Because this is something that's been in the forefront of people's minds for whatever, 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, whatever. That's what should happen. But it won't happen. If the Democrats manage to take everything back, if they take the House and they take the Senate, guess what's going to happen in the reparations conversation? You can book it. I don't know if you can bet on it, but if you can, and you're in a state where it's legal, I would bet on it. Their own Gilliland. Appreciate you. Thank you for the super chat. Was that really you who posted earlier about your phone being... Yeah, that was me. Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, that was me. It was my phone was still at the beginning of the month. I actually told the story at the beginning of the show, but yeah, that, and I said before that my phone was stolen, which is why I disappeared for so long, because I didn't have a camera or anything to talk on. But unfortunately, it wasn't just my phone that was stolen. I just never mentioned the other part because we were trying to get everything resolved. Just to recount, we were trying to get everything resolved, and we're in the process of moving, and my wife is pregnant, which is why we're moving, and we have to be out of here because we have, somebody else is moving in, and we have a limit, like a date to when we can move into the next place before they give it to somebody else. And unfortunately, all my savings were stolen. So, and they're giving me hell trying to get that shit back. And I learned the hard way that SIM cards are hackable. By the way, once again, just another public service announcement to the whole freaking world. If you have an iPhone or a Droid that's capable of a digital SIM card, eSIM, please, for the love of God, get rid of your physical SIM card and get an eSIM, because because SIM cards are hackable. Yeah. Learn from me and learn from Reddit. Don't learn for yourself the hard way, like I had to find out. So, but yeah, if you want to help donate to that cause, the link is in the description below. Like I said, I can post did I post it? I can post it again. I'll post a link in the chat too, for those who want to just get straight to it. And I really appreciate you guys. Yeah, so that's what I got to say about that. Like, I'm so fed up, bro, with this. Like, I don't even want to hear the word reparations unless it's we passed it. Because I know it won't get signed, but if I hear we passed reparations, like, not, we passed a study. We did a study. I don't want to hear none of that shit. Do they pass studies when they give all that money to Israel out of curiosity? Do they do a means-tested study before they sent all that damn money to Ukraine? Did they do a means-tested study before they blew $1 billion in 30 days in the Red Sea in a losing effort to Yemen? Why is it only black people's reparations that got to be studied? And I swear to God, bro, I remember I heard this argument. Well, we don't want to just give money to people and they don't know what to do with it. Boy, don't ever make that argument in front of me. I'm liable to actually fight a person for saying some dumb shit like that. Y'all forgot, they had to send the National Guard to carpet bomb Tulsa, Oklahoma, or Greenwood in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Not only did we not need y'all help, we were segregated. They preferred it. We was on our Russia shit. Like, when they interviewed the foreign minister for Russia, and they were like, how would it feel to be back in the back into the economic fold of the rest of the world? And he was like, we ain't trying to be with y'all. We good. We straight. Our economy's better than it's ever been. That was black people during segregation. During segregation. They had as much money cumulatively as the federal government. We don't need your motherfucking help with spending and saving our money. Black banks did smart investments. Black people made smart investments. Black people invested in one another. Even to this day, there are a lot of Black people who are known for financial education and educating the generation who is not as acute when it comes to financial awareness. Like, we good, we're straight, but you don't get to tell us how to spend our money when we literally watch economists, the experts, the people who go to school for this shit. They don't get one degree, they get their bachelor's degree, then they get a master's in business, then they get a PhD in economy, only for the same goddamn economic crash to happen every 8 years on cue. And y'all worry about how we gonna spend our motherfucking money? Come on. Y'all worry about how we gonna spend our money? How about y'all worry about how y'all spend y'all money since the government and Wall Street and these banks and all these damn multinational corporations can't exist without getting bailed out by one or the other from each other? You know who bails out Black people? Not a goddamn soul. We bail each other out. Or we sink. Talking about we can't just give money to people and expect them to know how to spend it. We got to know exactly how they're going to spend it. You can suck my... Anyway, thank you so much for tuning into this live stream segment of For the People Podcast. Like this video, guys. Share this video. If this is your first time here, make sure that you subscribe. Like I said, if you guys can help out, I greatly appreciate it. My family would greatly appreciate it as well. The link for Give, Send, Go is in the description. I can't use GoFundMe no more, y'all. I'm sorry if it's inconvenient, but you know, they was out there taking down Palestine stuff, and then like during protest, like they be taking down like I don't rock a GoFundMe anymore. I can't do it. They just too anti-revolutionary for me. So Give, Send, Go is where I'm at with it right now. The link is in the description. Like I said, it unfortunately, if I do end up somewhere down the line being able to recoup all of my savings, that would be great. But the amount we're asking for is not anywhere close to what I lost. It's just enough to make sure that family's gonna have a roof over their head next month whenever we do have to move. And I can rest easy because I don't want to be in a situation where my wife is 7 months pregnant and we're like trying to figure out something at the last minute that ain't gonna work. And she already irritated because we having a girl. I'm happy, but you know, my wife is in the house with me and my 2 sons. She the queen, right? It's the mommy, baby. What do you need? You need your foot rub. You need your back rub. She is the queen of the house in every sense of the word, and she wields that shit. She is not shy about it. And the first thing she said whenever we found out we had a daughter, just as a funny aside, is, bro, I swear to God, bro, when the doctor said, "Oh, it's gonna be a little princess," you know what she said? Allegedly. That's I swear to God. And she said it like under her breath. I said, "What? What did you say?" She's like, "Nothing." I was like, "Hold on, did you say we're having a girl?" She's like, "Yeah." And my wife said, "Allegedly." Again, I'm like, "What did you say? Did you say allegedly? What do you mean? Like the doctor's telling you what we're having?" She's like, "Whatever. We don't know that until the baby arrives." Bruh, I swear to God, yo, she's been having me laughing because she's gonna love having a baby girl. She gonna spoil her rotten too. But her issue is that she is acutely aware that like I want a baby girl and I've wanted a baby girl and my mom has wanted a girl, and I kind of am pretty open about the fact that my baby girl gonna be spoiled rotten because she's not gonna ever need another man in her life, and if she wants to live with us until she's 65 years old, I'm perfectly fine with that. I don't care. She can live with us. She don't gotta go nowhere. She got daddy. Daddy ain't never leaving. So, and if she's guilty of whatever she's supposedly guilty of, not to daddy. Daddy's gonna be defending princess. You know, I'll talk to her maybe on the side, but you know what I'm saying, like. In front of company, I mean the rest of the family, it ain't my princess's fault. Daddy gonna look the other way. I'm saying, y'all, you remember I got that. I probably might wear glasses sometimes, and if I don't got my glasses on, I'm actually blind. That's what's gonna happen. I ain't gonna lie. It's like my princess, y'all. Bro, I've been wanting a princess for so long. Y'all don't even know. Don't get me wrong. I love my boys. Like, but it's different. It's different. You know what I'm saying? My boys is my boys. Those are my dogs. But my princess is my princess. Bro, I'm so hyped. I'm so happy about it. That's like the shining light of our month. For me anyway. For her, maybe not so much. For her, it's probably like, God damn it, this too. But for me anyway, when I found that out, I was like, you know what? We'll figure all this other stuff out, man, because I'm getting my princess. And my mom's not going to disown me because this was her last shot to get her granddaughter. Yeah, that's a whole different guy. My mom has wanted a daughter, y'all, since... Oh, I was supposed to be a girl. So, you know, back in the day, they weren't as accurate. They were not as accurate when they were predicting boy or girl. So up until I was born, I was supposed to be a girl and my name was supposed to be Nicole. And then they found out basically like that night, my mom went into labor on Christmas Eve. Oh, no, my mom went into labor on, she went into labor at a Christmas Eve party, but it was technically Christmas Day because it was like she went into labor at like 12 or 1. And I was born on the 27th. Anyway, yeah, found out at that moment that I was a boy and was upset about it. Yeah. So, you know, I was born in disappointment. That's what I always like, sorry, I was born in disappointment, Mom. Then she didn't have wanted a girl. She tried again because she wanted a girl. Yeah, didn't have my brother. My brother got really long hair. He a pretty boy, but he's not a girl. And then what's crazy, my mom and dad separate, and then my dad goes on and proceeds to add insult to injury by having 4 girls actually, back to back. Bro, so then my brother has his first kid, boy. I have mine, boy. He's like, I thought y'all got y'all dad's genes. So now I'm like, all right, bro, we're gonna get this one more shot. We're gonna get this one more again. But when I pulled my bow back to shoot that arrow, I just knew I had the target. When she was like, I said, it's a girl. It's a girl. I knew it from the jump. Ask everybody. I said, I've been telling y'all that, right? I said, yeah. But I said, yeah, I knew it. I know it's a girl from the jump. I said, she heard me calling her. She knew. I was like, hey, you grandma's last hope. Okay? If you come here and being daddy's gonna make your life worth it. If you come into this world, I know it's kind of crazy right now. The world's crazy. I can understand why you would not want to be here. But like, if you come, daddy gonna make it worth it. And she ain't let daddy down. Yeah, so bro, I'm so hyped. Y'all probably, as much as y'all see me smile, dog, when y'all see me see these pictures of this my baby girl, oh Lord, dog, I'm so happy. Because bro, also like, it's such a it's difficult sometimes for a lot of people to raise a girl, because you're raising a girl and people are not conscious. A lot of fathers are not conscious of how much their influence, indirect influence, not even direct influence, like your indirect influence affects your daughter. Like, but because of my unique circumstances, unique situation, and being raised by my mom, and then also how in my relationship with my sisters, I'm super aware of it. And so I'm not worried about it at all. My wife is worried about how she might affect the daughter, but I'm not worried about her. I'm not worried about her messing up. I'm not worried about, because I know how to treat women. So, that's why you're here. And like, I'm excited to see this person that she's going to become, because it's like, kind of like I'm gonna be able to be, because I'm close with my mom. We have a estranged relationship, I will say, but I'm close with my mom. But my mom has always been like my biggest inspiration, and I've always wondered, like, damn, bro, if my mother's mom didn't pass away when she was 11, and like she didn't go through all the trauma that she had went through, like, damn, what would she have been capable of? Because my mom, achieved a lot in her life, and she lost so much at such a young age. And I've always wondered, like, what would it be like if my mom actually got the family that she wanted? Because I feel like that's part of my mom, like why my mom wants a granddaughter so bad, why she wanted a daughter. Like she wanted to see, like she wants to see that progression and to see if she could create what her life was meant to be. Not forcefully necessarily, because my mom's kind of a hands-off type of person. She doesn't force anybody to do anything. But like I think that's part of like what she wants to see, and to see if it was like it's possible. And I kind of want to see it too. Like I'm seeing the best version of my mom. Like that shit would be crazy, because basically so far I'm the best version of my mom. You know, I'm just gonna take the credit for that. Yeah, I'm the best version of my mom, but I'm a guy, so it don't count. And so being able to give my mom that, like, makes me happy too. So I can't wait to see just my sons interact with her, how they take care of her, like my family. Like me having a girl has actually been like a big ass deal. So like I said, pull that arrow back, y'all. I pulled it back. I pulled that bow back. Bullseye. So with that being said, like this video, share this video, leave a comment below. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe to our Telegram channel. If you want to support the show, you can do so through super chats. Obviously, you can join Patreon, become a monthly member. You can become a channel member as well. If I gotta check if that video uploaded. I'm actually uploading videos of my experience in Brazil now, because so many people have asked me about it, and so many people are like trying to move here. And I don't blame you. More so people trying to get out of the States, but a lot of people are asking me about my experience in Brazil. So I'm uploading some videos in English with Portuguese subtitles, because I have Brazilian friends still that watch my Instagram and YouTube stuff. But also, if you ever want to hear me speak Portuguese, become a channel member and you'll be able to hear it, because they're like the video I'm posting, or already posted. I don't know if it actually went live yet, but the video I'm posting today is straight Portuguese. So if you want to hear me speak Portuguese, become a channel member. It's super cheap. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, always remember, more than anything else, find your balance. Peace.